TouchLine, sponsored by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after. And Powerade. Pause is power. Hello and welcome to TouchLine. This is the final edition of this season, and we're sponsored by the Barbados Football Association, Dasani, and Powerade. I'm your host, Anmar Goodrich Boyce, and our producer tonight is Damien Best. I have with me in the studio two important men. Akeem Hill, he's a defender for Weymouth Wales, and have their captain, Hayden Holligan. But before we get into the discussion on this, a very special 1 hour edition, we'll take a pause and come back with so much more. TouchLine, sponsored by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after. And Powerade. Pause is power.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Morning Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email.
TouchLine, sponsored by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after. And Powerade. Pause is power. Welcome back to TouchLine, sponsored by the Barbados Football Association, Powerade, and Dasani. I did mention that I have two special young men in the studio with me. Hayden Holligan, the captain of Weymouth Wales, and next to him is central defender Akeem Hill. Let's first start by congratulating these young men and the entire team, Weymouth Wales, once again champions of the Barbados Football Association's Premier League, and they're wearing some interesting shirts. It says 5-time BFA Premier League champions. They finished on 43 points, 13 victories, and 1 defeat. Hayden, I'll start with you as the captain of the team. Your initial reaction to Wales yet again being so dominant in the BFA Premier League this season?
The feeling is good. It was a difficult season. Had a very hard time this season, but we came out victorious.
It wasn't like Wales though. You guys started a bit slow. Give us a bit of insight into what was going on, in the start of the season.
Well, goals was hard to come by. That's all I can say. We had a rough season, scoring goals. We had a good season defensively, but attacking, not so good.
Akeem, I'll bring you into the conversation now. How was it like for you? You've been at Wales now for a number of seasons. Was this Premier League a little bit different for you as a player in the unit?
I wouldn't say it different, but as you say, we started off slow. First couple of games, we find ourselves in 5th. Wales normally lead. So I think the guys just got disgruntled by the position of the table, lost concentration, but all in all, we come out, finish on top.
And I spoke to a number of the Weymouth Wales players, and they were saying all the time, do not panic. Don't panic. Wales will recover. Was there any point in the season that you guys thought that maybe the title race was a bit over? Didn't you want to take the first jump?
For me, no. I always know that our fate will be in our hands. We just had to win every game. Like from time the first round finish, we huddled up and came together and said, every game in the second round is a final. We need to win every game in the second round. And the boys will execute.
Akeem, there was a point in time where I think Wales were like 5 points behind. Paradise seemed to be doing really well. What was the mindset of the players when that Sharon Hoyt was going around and he was doing his thing and telling everyone this is the year of Paradise? Tell me about the banter though, because we normally see you guys play on the field, but I know that you guys are good friends off the field as well. We see you guys, having your leisure time, going out to events and enjoying a good time. So tell us about the relationship of some of the players. It's a friendly rivalry, but when it comes on the pitch, tell us about that.
On the field, I think you just go forget the friends and go to do what you know you're supposed to do. As the coaches say, the season ain't gone away. Now is the time for we to really dig in and show the character and the guts of Weymouth Wales. And the guys went out and do it.
And I must say though, because it was quite of a shock, well, not only for us, but for football fans, because Weymouth Wales didn't lose a single match in the Prime Minister's Cup. So nobody expected Wales to start so slowly in the Premier League. Was there a bit of fatigue settling in, having played so long last season, because we knew you guys went off to the CFU, also went off to play in the Caribbean Cup for CONCACAF, which you did so well, representing Barbados and yourselves and Carrington Village, then came back and won the Prime Minister's Cup, and then to have to do the league. And I think the turnaround time in there was pretty short, a very, very short window. Just a bit of a break for Christmas, and then you guys were back on the training pitch, preparing for the season. So was there a bit of fatigue that settled in for you guys, perhaps that would have caused the slow start?
For me, yes, and plus we got a number of injuries, so that make it more difficult than ever. Because now you gotta change up your team, gotta get men ready. Still nursing injuries. Some players was carrying niggling injuries, so you still gotta manage that. And yeah, everybody's body was tired.
From a mindset or a psychological point of view, Akeem, because you know, football is played in parts. Obviously, there's the physical aspect, but it's also played a lot with the mind as well. You know, seeing a lot of your teammates being injured and stuff like that, knowing how everybody's coming for Wales, did that play a part too?
Definitely. Well, seeing some key players move on to receiving contracts, then the injuries come in, you know, some may now gonna be saying, well, shot gone, this is my time.
Yeah.
Pete hurt, this, and then some men gonna be just strolling through, ain't care. But all in all, we come together as one unit and put the best foot forward.
You spoke about coming together as one unit, and that's something that I really like. Hayden, I'll ask you this question. How, and you're the captain, how do you keep these guys motivated? Because 5 times Premier League champions, you guys win everything in Barbados, just came off of winning the Prime Minister's Cup. How do you keep Weymouth Wales motivated here in Barbados? It can be easy. You guys are laughing. Share the secret. What is the motivation? Barbados wants to know.
Nah, I can't disclose that.
Oh, is that big of a secret?
I can't disclose that.
But obviously there's something that obviously keeps the Weymouth Wales team burning. Let's speak now about that second half of the season. Rashad Jules looked like a new signing and scoring goals in the nick of time. I saw he'll just roll his eyes. He'll take the first bite at this cherry. What do you have to say about Rashad Jules? And he seemed to be finding that important goal each time.
Jules, very good player. You know, for his strength, speed, ability to finish. But I think we was riding with some faith there.
A bit of luck too?
I won't say a lot, but faith. Everybody knows Wales' team can't stop from scoring. But I think we allow teams to stay in the game too long. So it caused the team to panic, get disgruntled, and just go here or there. But Rashad, a very awesome player. I like playing with him, even from national team,
Yeah.
BDF. Yeah.
Your thoughts on, it seems like Wales' time was the 91st, 92nd minute.
For me, that just sure got some character. The game isn't finished until the whistle blow, and we dig in for 90 plus. And Rashad stepped up, and he was supposed to step up, I would say.
Yeah, and we'll just have a quick look at the final point standings of the table. 43 points, as I mentioned. There it is on our screen. Weymouth Wales collecting 13 victories, only lost once and 4 draws, so pretty impressive after playing 18 games. Kickstart Rush, a bit surprising, they finished second on 36 points. Prudence Hill third, 35. Ellerton fourth, 34. But the biggest shock, Paradise, finishing with 33 points and having kept Weymouth Wales on their toes for so long, finishing fifth. A bit shocking to most football fans. Let's now move on. What's next for Wales after winning the BFA Premier League season? I believe you guys have qualified for the CFU Club Shield. That's the Caribbean Football Union Club Shield, and that will be played in July. Of course, we'll take a break in terms of football activity because of the World Cup coming up. But the next assignment for you guys will be July, if I'm correct.
Knockouts.
Okay. So you're still playing the knockouts. What I mean, regionally.
Yeah.
CFU.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the knockouts, going for the double?
Of course. Wales are winning teams, so have to go for everything.
Talk to me now about Trinidad and going off to CFU. Will the preparation be a bit different? What lessons have you guys learned from competing last year? Because I know you competed last year in that, and then quickly after there was a short turnover to the Caribbean Cup. Hill, you want to tell me what was the biggest lessons that you guys learned from last year in that tournament, playing an amateur team playing against professional teams? Like, I don't think a lot of people understand what it really takes.
Discipline, organization, the way how you prepare yourself before a game, all of them things play a big factor. So like, as an amateur team in Barbados going to play against professional teams, from the outside people will be saying, oh, Wales can get beat bad, Wales can't handle it. But within the unit, the guys had the right spirit, the right mindset, and everybody just went out and do the best, and it pay off.
Hayden?
You said the biggest
lesson you've learned?
preparation, honestly. How you prepare for the game, that played a key role. The things you do before, the night before the game, you must rest because you can need it on the field because it's fast paced and you have to take opportunities. If you don't take opportunities in that tournament, for sure, you will be punished.
And you guys were runners-up last year for the CFU tournament, and that actually allowed for the qualification to the Caribbean Cup, which was a fantastic one. What is the goals and the mindset now for this CFU tournament coming up?
Well, the goal is to get where we was last year or even better that. The guys would love to better that, to be honest. We would love to get to the knockout stages. That is the goal right now.
And finally, before we go, because what I'll do in a couple of minutes, we'll have a talk to the assistant coach, Andrew Jean. He's waiting patiently to come on set and talk to us and tell us how it has been from an administrative point of view, coaching staff point of view. But is there any fans in particular that you guys want to shout out? Any person, in Carrington Village who has helped you more or less through this season to get over the finish?
In Carrington Village?
Gosh, Denzel.
Oh, you Bigfoot.
Yeah, gosh, Denzel.
You seeing Mali? Them guys was there from the start to the finish.
Just shout out all the fans that never gave up on us. Not only there when we winning, but also there to encourage when we at our lowest.
Well, congratulations again to Akeem Hill, Hayden Holligan, and the entire Weymouth Wales team. At this point, we'll take just a look back at the final day of the season for Weymouth Wales.
Final night of the Prem, Paradise in blue playing Kickstart Rush. The winner takes the runners-up prize. No goals in the first half. This is the second. Cutting edge stuff from Kickstart in the danger zone. Kamari Johnson, one step over and drilled into the back of the net on 53 minutes. Kickstart 1, Paradise 0. Well, the Dover boys had to respond. 61st minute. Shamari Herwood off the laces and through the keeper's fingers. Game on. We're tied at 1 apiece. Who wants it the most? 77th minute from the throw-in. Somebody left to call Aline Calendar alone. And that's a recipe for punishment. There you go. That is the game winner. Kickstart Rush defeating Paradise 2-1, and in the process cemented second place in the league. The nightcap fixture, merely a formality. Weymouth Wales in green taking on Pride of Gall Hill. 17th minute. It's 3-on-2. Initial save pounced upon by Terrico Bellamy, arriving at the back post. 1-0 at half-time. Switch of ends for the second. Gall Hill dispossessed in a dangerous position. Armando Sugar Lashley gets there before the keeper. We're tied at 1-1. Well, as the experts say, making your own luck is about taking action. And just when it looked like it would end in a stalemate, 4th minute of injury time, Rashad Smith beats the goalkeeper at near post. My. Wales end the season with their 13th victory in a 2-1 win over Pride of Gall Hill. Congratulations to the champions.
Yeah, congratulations again to Weymouth Wales. And I know we've made a substitution. Akeem Hill and Hayden Colligan out. And we've actually only brought in one player though. Actually, it's the assistant coach, Andrew Jean. Thank you so much for joining us on Touchline. I've been trying for such a long time, the entire season, to get someone from the coaching staff to join us to talk about Weymouth Wales. And he's decided now to come on board when Weymouth Wales have won the championship. Congrats again to you. Andrew, from a coaching point of view, how was this season for Wales?
And I can hear Hill is having a smile. Very hectic season, very stressful season. Obviously finding ourselves in the position of chasing, which we are not necessarily accustomed to. But like the guys said earlier, we dig deep and we pull together and we found a way to win. So that's the most important.
How was the preparation this campaign for the players, especially coming off of so much football they played back in 2025? How difficult was it for you preparing this team?
Well, the team is easily coached. We have about 14 former or current nationals in the team. However, motivation is the most challenging thing to keep these guys motivated, especially winning 4 in a row and trying to make it 5 in a row. But we put together a good plan pre-season going into the season, and the guys executed every part of the plan. So we were happy. Give us a bit of a background and an insight into what does that pre-season look like for a team like Weymouth Wales, an amateur team here in Barbados. Yeah, we kind of follow a professional guideline in terms of pre-season, where we try to get them as fit as possible in a 4 or 5 week period. Then we go into a lot of ball work, a lot of preparation, a lot of movement, a lot of synchronization, a lot of knowing where you're supposed to be in the current game itself, and also a lot of thinking on the fly. So that's the major preparation going into our season. Yeah, we're here looking at some highlights of Weymouth Wales. Yeah. Obviously, some of the games throughout the season, a couple of last-minute goals as well. Yeah. But from your point of view, how did the season go from your point of view, watching on as the assistant coach, obviously, to ask with how? The good thing about the season, or even when we're in the challenging positions, we know our depth is pretty good. Yeah. So come the 60th minute, come the 65th minute, we know we can bring in 3, 4, 5 players that can make a difference. And the fitness of the guys are premium. We do cycling, we do a lot of gym work, we do a lot of stuff to get them to that point. So in the 90th minute, we're still going pretty strong. Well, majority of the teams are fading away. And you think that played a big part in terms of, Weymouth Wales being able to get over the line this Premier League season? Because we did saw a number of the goals for Weymouth Wales coming at the latter parts of the game. I counted about 2-3 goals that Rashad Juice scored
you know, in the 90th, 91st, 92nd minutes. How big of a impact do you think the fatigue played in?
Well, like you touched on earlier, coming off the Caribbean Seal and the Caribbean Cup, it was tasking on the guys. We had a short break for Christmas, so going into the season itself, the guys were really, really physically tired. However, like I said, we trained really, really hard on our fitness, and we tried to get the guys to the maximum, and it paid off in those dying minutes in almost those critical games. And we get the goals in those critical times.
At which point did you get back well, I don't imagine that you ever lost it, but in terms of the confidence, which game, if you can pinpoint a game in this Premier League season that you said, okay, yes, we are definitely now going to win the BFA Premier League?
Well, like Hayden alluded to, we really pinpointed the Paradise game. They were leading by, I think, 3-4 points, and we knew we had to beat them. So once we beat them and we put the pressure back on them psychologically, we kind of pinpointed that as a point where we can push on from. So once we won that game, we pretty much know everything's in our hands. So once the ball is in our hands, we knew we would have won pretty much. Yeah.
And I'll ask you this question now. You know, last season is the same question I asked to Hayden and Akeem. Last season, you guys went, well, a virtual quarterfinal in the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup. Did you think that, or how big of an impact you think that had in terms of the start of the season for this year, 2026? You think that played a role?
Well, I think it was minor. It wasn't major. The bigger role was losing Andre to MLS, losing Shaq to injury, losing Eli to injury. So we lost almost 22, 23 goals between those three guys alone. So that was a bigger impact than actual fatigue itself. So we needed to find guys to step up to score those goals. And that where we struggled at that point more than anything else, finding replacement goal scorers. Yeah.
And, well, if we look at, based on paper, Wales is perhaps Wales perhaps and the Paradise is one of two teams in Barbados who can have, you know, different players come in that's almost play the same position, like for like switches. So what you're saying is that you could do with a bit more depth.
Yes, at the striker position, you may realize based on the stat sheet, we had the best defense at the tournament. I think we conceded only 9 goals.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. But compared to like Paradise, who scored like 47, 57 goals, we scored like 30-something goals. So we needed more goal scoring. So we're looking into it, going into Trinidad and going in further. We are looking at possibly recruiting in that area, possibly.
So what you're saying is that a big name signing could be coming into Weymouth Wales.
Possibly.
Scoring goals.
Possibly. we're looking at our options, especially for Trinidad, because we really want to go a step further, and we shall see.
Yeah, you mentioned about Trinidad and going a step further from a coaching point of view. And before we get there, though, you mentioned a number of injuries. How does a team like Weymouth Wales deal with injuries? Because I would imagine that at the professional level, you know, that stuff is taken care of. There's budgets, there's money. You don't have to worry about stuff like that. How does a team like Weymouth Wales, because I imagine this is a question that Barbados would want to know, how does an amateur team like Weymouth Wales deal with, you know, players getting injured? What is the procedure, process, etc.?
Well, we have an amazing team from Dr. Chloe. We have Chantel, physio, the manager, Alfonso, even down to the coach and myself. We have an amazing team who it starts there. Once we identify the problem, then we go into the normal protocol where we request the doctor's visit, and we get them looked at, and we analyze if it needs surgery, if it just can be treated just by rest. But it starts with the amazing. We have an amazing team on board. It's small, but it's a very good team.
Speaking now of Trinidad and Tobago, the CFU will be coming up. How do you prepare the team for that? You mentioned about wanting to go one step further.
A lot of video analysts we do for this tournament. A lot of homework is done prior to the games. A lot of physical preparation for the game. A lot of game planning based on the opposition, one game at a time. So it's a little slightly different, but we are confident at least getting to the second round, and then it's going to be a toss-up.
How important is the video analysis at that level?
It's usually important, and we need to identify the weaknesses of our opposition and also our own weaknesses, also what we can work on the training ground prior to the games, and also what we can exploit from our point of view going forward to get us victorious. So it's critical.
And so far, Weymouth Wales doing pretty decent in the Champions Cup. Last night, was it a 3-0 victory over Pinelands? I didn't manage to get up to the BFA building turf, or the technical center, what is being called these days, but someone told me today that it was an outstanding crowd.
Yes. Once again, we're happy for the fans. Hopefully they continue to show in numbers. It gives us an additional boost that we definitely enjoy. The game itself, we found it pretty comfortable. We are working on a couple of things. I can't disclose it, but we definitely was hoping to score a bit more goals. But once again, we are you're going to hear this a lot, we are looking into that area.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Final words, Andrew, before you go, is there anything else you want to tell Barbados as it pertains to Wales?
Yeah, just once again, just happy to be the champions, happy to bring home this championship to Carron Village area, and keep cheering us on. We're hoping to go for the 6th.
Thank you so much, Andrew Jean. He's the assistant coach of Weymouth Wales, and I did mention a bit earlier the BFA Champions Cup. That competition still playing, so we'll now take a look at action from last Sunday.
Plenty of respect between the players before the action gets underway. UW Blackbirds in the yellow, about to tackle it out with Wharton. And 5 minutes in, the first ink was placed on the score sheet. But not how Wharton would have liked. The Cardinals saying every player avoids. The keeper comes out in theory. Jones looking to step defensively in, but they said it's an own goal. He truly felt that. Blackbirds went up 1-0. That lead will double as we're now into the 37th minute. Blackbirds working the ball around, and you could sense something was building. And Tionka Duggan will be the man to take aim, and he slots it into the right pocket. It was a clinical finish, and one that sent UE into the halftime break, firmly in control with a 2-0 advantage. Wharton were then handed a lifeline following a controversial sequence of events inside the area. The Blackbirds player appeared to be brought down, but his teammate reacted by throwing a Wharton player, and referee Ishmael Watkins had no hesitation in awarding the penalty, giving Wharton a golden opportunity to pull a goal back. And stepping up to take it was Keon Harding, and he's on target, making it 2-1. But any hopes of a Wharton comeback were put to bed by Javier Smith. The Blackbirds attacker was right on time to meet the cross and guide it home, putting the result beyond doubt. The goal capped a strong all-round performance from the men in yellow as UW Blackbirds secured a convincing 3-1 victory over Wharton. Meanwhile, it was a lopsided affair as Britain still totally dominated. Bagatelle started with this header from Nkosi Reid, the only goal of the first half. But into the second is where Britain set up the ante. The goal started flowing. The keeper not able to hold on to the ball, and it falls at the feet of Corey Hoyt, who makes no mistake. Reid will get a second, once more using his aerial prowess to devastating effect. Rising above the defence, he powered home another header to complete his brace and make it 3-0. The fourth goal arrived courtesy to Shane Lord, and it was a finish that was made to look easy. And let's put the icing on the cake. A good save by the keeper, or not so good, as Zevan Welch takes a second shot, and with that, Britain still are runaway 5-0 winners over Bagatelle. And the nightcap featured the top dogs of local football, Weymouth Wales versus Pinelands. And with this hard tackle in the box, the ref wasted no time to point to the spot. And Akil Apwit made full use of the opportunity, producing a good finish, coolly converted to give his side a 1-0 advantage heading into the halftime break. Well, you know they weren't done yet, as here comes Armando Sugalashi to add a second to the score sheet. Wales are just top notch. And one more for good measure. Talk about placement and timing. Jonte James shakes the keeper, and the left pocket is conquered. Wales end 3-0 over Pinelands.
Yeah, lovely BFA Champions Cup action at the BFA Wildy Technical Center. And the substitutions continue to be rolling here in the studio. Remember, I told you this is the final touchline for this season, sponsored by the Barbados Football Association and Powerade and Dasani. And look who we found, Ronaldo P.B. Jilks from Kickstart Rush. He's the head coach, and Robin Paris is back after Tottenham Hotspurs survived the
I told you.
Drop.
It wouldn't be right. Good night.
Yes. Good night to you, Robin, and good night to PB. PB, I'll start with you first. Kickstart Rush, doing really well. Second in the BFA Premier League. So congratulations on that achievement. And, you know, still looking well in the Champions Cup. Let's start there.
Well, in the Champions Cup, we bowled out in the first round. We had a hectic schedule and we had to field a second string squad, so to speak. But as you rightfully mentioned, finishing second in the Premier League is a huge accomplishment. Let's not forget Kickstart Rush only came in the Premier League in 2024. Wow. And since then, 2024 we finished third. 2025 we finished runners-up in both the Champions Cup and the Premiership Cup. And this year finishing second in the Premier League. So all in all, I would say within the 3 years we've made our trip to top tier. We've done considerably well. So I would say 3 years of fun, 3 years of success, and time to turn a new page for both Kickstart Rush and myself.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit about that extensively a bit later. Robin is biting his lips to get a piece. Robin, your thoughts on the entire season and the season for Kickstart Rush?
Obviously, I admire PV and Kickstart Rush, their structure, the way how they prepare for the games. You know, the PV's approach to the whole development in terms of not necessarily winning trophies, but exposing these players both in Barbados and outside of Barbados, regionally and internationally. So well done to him. And it's always about the bigger picture, getting players out on contract and the trials, etc. And what you're seeing is probably, it's not the finished product, but it's obviously work in progress, but you can see where they're going, where they want to go. And I'm amazed that they've only been playing top tier for, what, 3 years now? Yeah. And you can see that they belong there. Their structure, how they manage their games, etc. So well done to them. Well done to all the teams. I think all in all we had probably one of the better Premier League seasons in a very long time. And I go back to the coaching of the teams, Pee Wee, Norman Ford, Mario Hart, and we could go on. And how the teams prepared. Allerton did well as well. And, you know, a bit disappointed in Paradise. They fell off in the end. But something had to give with the pressure. Weymouth Wales, who we had just now in the studio, they did really well. And you can, from listening to them talk, you can always tell they're always preparing themselves, whether it be on the field or in the gym, recovery sessions, strength and conditioning. So, you know, when the teams are playing 86 and 89 minutes, etc., they're playing 100 minutes. So, well done to Wales, well done to Kickstart, Britain, so all of the teams basically, and we can only go for. I hope we can build on this success of the in Barbados Premier League in terms of the national team, Wales in the CONCACAF, etc. And I'm confident that we will go all the way.
And we just saw obviously the table for the BFA Premier League, how the final standings were. Weymouth Wales top of the table, 43 points. Kickstart Rush, 36 points. Ronaldo, how would you sum up these statistics? When I look at it, 10 victories, 2 defeats, 6 draws, goals for 54, goals against 15, and a goal difference of 39.
Yeah, the draw column there actually struck out to me because I think we drew the most matches.
Most games, yeah.
And I mean, not discrediting any teams, but we should have gotten more favorable results versus Lions and Wharton, who we dropped points to. We dropped points to Bagatelle as well. We also had dropped points to UWA. We drew with UWA. We drew with Bagatelle in the first round. Drew with Wales in the first round. We lost to Wharton in the second round. So, I mean, with different results in those particular matches, perhaps we could have pushed Wales all the way to the end or even surpassed them. So definitely we're kicking ourselves for that in particular. But, you know, we live and we grow, and obviously we have a very young squad. So having those experiences will definitely develop them for future endeavors such as the Barbados Premier League.
Yeah, and not only here in Barbados, throughout the world, it has been a year of goodbyes for football, and we've seen Casemiro leave Manchester United. Pep Guardiola has said goodbye to the Etihad as well. And right here in Barbados, Ronaldo PB Jilts is stepping down. He's already announced it. This was his final season as the head coach of Kickstart Rush. Congratulations, Pee Wee, on a job well done during your tenure. Where's the next step for Ronaldo Pee Wee Jilts? Everyone's asking.
Yeah.
Where are you heading? Are you heading to Weymouth Wales? Are you heading to Paradise? Or are you heading to the World Cup maybe?
I'm not leaving the Kickstart Rush organization in its entirety. I'm leaving the men's squad, and that's because I've had a higher calling, so to speak, where I'll be spending a bit more time with the technical development side of Rush Soccer, which will allow me to focus a bit more with my technical director capacity. But I'll be doing a lot more with our parent club, Rush Soccer, as well. And essentially it'll be a win for not just Kickstart Rush, but Barbados football in its entirety, where we get spending a bit more time with reference to player development, coaching, education, and essentially a lot of the rules and tasks of being a technical director. So who knows, may not be at the World Cup yet, but I think this allows me, or this step allows me to present a pathway for the players at Kickstart Rush, a more direct pathway with reference to the Rush Academy, being involved in the more intimate level, as I mentioned, in the Rush ecosystem, so I can identify best practices, things which they're doing over there that could benefit players here in its entirety, as I mentioned, because I'm not just isolated with Kickstart Rush. As you know, I've been a youth national coach for a number of years, and I'm always able to identify young talent and rub shoulders with their coaches and the clubs in its entirety. So I definitely will miss the touchline, especially in the Premier League.
This one as well.
Yeah, this one as well. You know, you might have me back in the capacity as a technical director, but the next step basically is to assist the board with identifying a successor. We have some interviews scheduled, so I'm looking forward to that.
And somebody asked me before we came on air if Pee Wee's leaving on his own or if Pee Wee was pushed. But I guess you've explained, obviously, your decision to go upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, I relish in every experience and every opportunity I had to lead Kickstart Rush, especially with the pinnacle being at the Premier Cup last year, which didn't necessarily go in the way we wanted. But I mean, look at what it's done to us. It's pushed us all the way to second place in the top league in Barbados. So each of these experiences have definitely molded me into being a better coach, and subsequently a better coach often leads to having better players. So I wouldn't have changed anything along my journey as head coach of the Kickstart Rush team.
Yeah, who knows to Pee Wee? TD of Kickstart Rush, potentially, who knows, maybe.
Yeah.
TD of Barbados, is it going there? Perhaps?
Small steps.
Robin, I'll bring you into this just to add a bit more fire to the Kickstart Rush and what is going on there at the club. Ronaldo Jiltsy did mention about interviews. If we analyze it and we look at a number of coaches now out of jobs, who do you identify as perhaps a possible successor to Ronaldo Jiltsy? We've got Chad Bino, who's been very close to him. There's also Marlon Hart, who obviously left Wharton. Kenroy Skinner, he has a short-term contract with Pride of God Hill as well. Maybe Mario Hart, may who knows, he may change Paradise for Rush.
That's my earliest and roommate too.
Who do you think would be a good successor for Wharton?
I'm not sure about who would be a good successor, but person who will be identified, but obviously we'll have to have the Kickstart Rush, their culture. The one who has shown or possesses that desire to develop the younger players, not necessarily to win. It's about developing. You win well, you learn as well. So it's just a matter of who's available. I'm sure all of the names you just called have been applied for the. I can't remember seeing anything in the local papers, but maybe they were handpicked. But you know, whoever the Pee Wee or Ronaldo and his board sees as his successor has to buy into the Kickstart's philosophy and what they stand for, and they're even their youth league. They have a very strong youth arm at Kickstart, along with some other teams. So for me, it's about what the coach brings to the Kickstart, if it fits their image and their structure. First thing first, and then that person would fall into to place easily.
And I would imagine, Ronaldo, it does make sense for me from that point of view, that you would be part of the recruitment process as well. What is it that the board is looking for in terms of a head coach?
Robin mentioned it briefly just now, where the person has to recognize that, yes, you're coming to lead a team, but a team that's a part of a bigger system. So being able to identify with our DNA, coming in to understand the club culture, recognizing and really appreciating what we're doing at the academy level, and working closely with the coaches at the academy level to assist with the transition. We do things a little bit unconventionally at the club in the sense of player recruitment. We've had a great deal of players who have graduated from our academy into the first team, and that's primarily because the transfer window, transfer market can be very messy at times, you know, and we if that's something that we could do without, we would. But that coach coming in has to be able to also recognize where they are with reference to being in the rush soccer pillar of things, and just recognize the game model, fitting the game model, and also they will be allowed to add that creativity and that ingenuity as well. So someone that's committed, hardworking, creative, and understands the Kickstart way.
If you had to look back, Pee Wee, in terms of your journey, what would you pinpoint as your major achievements at the club? I know you played a role with a number of players being able to get scholarships overseas, players even getting professional contracts, etc. If you had to pinpoint a couple of achievements, what would you say they would be?
First of all, getting the club from Division 1 into Premier League. At one point in time, the year of COVID, when football ended because of COVID, Kickstart was down the barrel in Division 1 and would have almost been certain to go down to Division 2. So getting us up from Division 1 and making history by having the club in its first ever stint in the Premier League, that would be one. Having a group of boys who I had from under 11 and under 13, just to mention a few: Jacob Gollop, Ethan Haynes, Shihab Juman, Kimani Trotman, Aragon, like the list, Ben Everett, who got best goalkeeper last year.
In the Premier League.
Yes. Having those players from under 11 and under 13 transition directly into the main team and making an impact, you know, helping the team get into division, to the Premier League, Champions Cup, Prime Minister's Cup. And then I would say having a couple other players achieve their goal of playing in college. And then we had most recently young Aragon Bridgman Seal, who is now on trial in the Canadian Premier League with Inter Toronto. You know, we had a role in helping Tajo James, who's now at our professional club in Croatia, and Kev Veresdine. So, I mean, there's so many, and I do apologize if I would have missed some, but I think being able to walk hand in hand, helping some of the players recognize their dream and assist them in reaching that dream have been, I would say, those will be earmarked as some of my best times at Kickstart Rush.
How do you imagine the transition period will be like?
It's been, well, like the last game on the touchline was a bit emotional. I actually sat in my car for a pretty lengthy time, recognizing that was my last time on the touchline with some people that I spent hours with on the field, years with on the pitch. So the transition is going pretty well for the time being, but I'm sure when preparation for Prime Minister Cup start and like having been there to introduce a new coach and so forth, it will be a little emotional again, but I'm looking forward to what the new horizons bring. As I said, it's about bringing a new generation of Kickstart Rush players to the fore. And to be honest, once we remain in the Premier League for the next 2-3 years, Kickstart will be there knocking on the door to win. And I believe we're going to have a wave just like Wales in terms of successive championships. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
Robin, I see you shaking your head. Do you agree?
I definitely agree. One of the things that jumped out at me with PB is the emotions. I know, you know, it's blood, sweat, and tears. You pour so much emotions into it, so much hard work. Sometimes when you got to put on your professional hat and decide, look, I need to step on or step away. You need to naturally spend a minute, you know, to take your emotions away and you know, maybe shed a tear or two and realize that, hey, this is really it. Yeah. So I just really honestly want to wish PB the very best. I know we've sat and discussed. We don't see one another too often, but when we do, we sit and discuss all kinds of things. Goalkeeping clinics, football in general. Miss Grant, who both had a hand in. You know, Empire, Kickstart, you know, the relationship that we've built. And all this is because of this young man to my right. And that's me talking generally, being, you know, fair to him. He's done a lot of work for Kickstart where he's at. And I'm confident that he's built that dynasty. Is not finished yet, but you know, have a hand on what's going to go on in the future, and he'll be fine. The successor, whoever he is, he will be fine. And then Kickstart will go on. I look forward for them to be to be challenging Wales and, you know, one of the other clubs and stuff. And one of the things I would like to see too at the Kickstart Rush and football in general in Barbados Premier League. I don't pay the goalkeepers a little bit. We spoke about that off here. Goalkeeping clinics, you know, because with a sound goalkeeper, that's half of the job of the team. You have confidence in your goalkeeper playing the foot past him, etc. So I think that's one of the things, takeaways that I could take away in terms of building on the pillars. Young Thorpe, etc. We can name a few who has the potential, you know. So I just wanted to say those two things, and I wish them all nothing but the best. Nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you mentioned an interesting point there in terms of the goalkeepers. I know you, former Barbados national goalkeeper, Robin, yourself. Your thoughts on the quality of the goalkeeper that you've seen this season? I know we've had the likes of, you know, Horace Stout, same Omari Eastman, he played for Wales, Jason Botso Barbers as well, just to name a few.
Correct.
Your thoughts on the quality of the goalkeepers that are coming through right now?
There's one or two that stand out. Young Thorpe from Kickstart Rush, Primus. But generally speaking, for me, it can be better. Their positioning, the reading of the game, the commanding of the box, the use of their feet. Just generally, I think it can be better. The ability is there, the potential is there, but it's to get them out of that next stage, that international stage, the BFA's Premier League stage. Years ago, we had Horace Stout. Horace was about 6'6", 6'7". I'm about 5'10". Air Series about 5'11", Philip Blackgrove, but they were imposing.
Philip Blackgrove, a legend.
Yeah, imposing. And we can Mike Seal. We had tons of keepers, and I'm sure we have a lot more now. But to get them into that goalkeeping school, just to nurture them and show them the best practices is very important.
Funny enough, you mentioned goalkeeping school. I saw two my former teammates when I was at Notre Dame, Bernard Howell and Marcin Taylor, two other goalkeepers. I saw them recently. They're both involved at the youth level, and I challenged them most recently to, you know, provide something or come up with something that will educate school, the young goalkeepers coming through, and keep them there, because we've had at the youth level we often will find them, but then as time progresses, we find that one, they may get bored, they find interest or the glory coming in scoring goals, and we lose them. So a goalkeeper is such a lonely position. You're the only one in the box. Sometimes when the ball is at the field, you're wearing a different jersey from everyone else. So there's those psychological elements. So having a goalkeeper coach almost gives you that mentor, that direct confidant to be there with you. So
generally speaking, a goalkeeper can make you, or it can make you or break you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know,
the Robin Parish goalkeeping school. Is that what you say?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But again, I'm willing to help any way, to pass on any knowledge that I can, you know. So, I mean, you know, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, Roa Ford is saying...
for sure.
Yeah, he's saying that goalkeeping is the best position.
Roa was a top goalie back in his days, man, but he apparently keeping you together here at CBC, so I can't put him away now.
I'm not sure he's doing a good job, though. Anyways, guys, 10 days away from the greatest show on earth.
Wow.
I'll just quickly get your teams before we go. Just a couple minutes left on TouchLine. I'll start with you first, PB.
I'm a neutral here.
Your team?
Yeah, my team didn't qualify for the third straight time. I support Italy.
Okay, you're Italian.
Yeah, but I lean it close with the French man, with my Brown. I lean it close. And he has been informed Arsenal just with the Premier League, you know what I mean? So I think the French can do it. They got the French, Spanish, do a come to Germany. I watched them yesterday. You know, the Dutch often flirt with it. Argentina, about repeating, I'm not totally sure, but the French seem to be like the team with the firepower. You know that. I'm sure you've noticed there's a clear, obvious omission. So I ain't gonna get to that, but I leave that to you.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Robin, are you saying we as well?
No. I'm saying Argentina.
Okay.
Argentina.
Don't cry for me.
Don't. Well, I think you'll cry again. Tears of joy. But for me, Argentina, the French, the Spanish. I'm one of the African nations teams for me, and I'm not sure which one. Again, PB said the Dutch always flirting with our emotions at times, but this is probably one of the closer World Cups we've had in a very long time. So we'll see how it goes. Oh boy, and we can see where PB's allegiance lies. Oh my dear.
I think it's coming home. I think it's coming home, Barbados.
They said that in 2018.
I think it's coming home, Barbados.
2022.
I think football is coming home.
Oh my golly.
I think football is coming home.
So Germany's going to help the English win the World Cup.
I'm back in England. I'm going to be supporting England this World Cup.
The irony of that, Germany's going to help the English win the World Cup.
Granted, we've left out of a couple of big players, Phil Foden, a shock in my opinion, and Cole Palmer. But I think that this England team, not the best English teams that's gone to the World Cup, but Tuchel has said, he's picked players who are not about egos. Yeah. I don't agree with leaving out Harry Maguire, but hey.
I actually like the Tuchel's approach in terms it looks more tactical than
Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, correct. So we'll see how.
A lot of people said, not to cross you, a lot of people said that Southgate was too conservative. He didn't want to lose.
Yeah. No, but for me, it's a long World Cup, and those little formations, those little changes, tactical changes will be very, very important. So your depth will be very interesting.
No one on the panel supporting the great Brazil. Barbados, I know the entire country supports Brazil normally.
I sat here about 15 years ago with about 1,000 Brazilians on my back. I predicted that Brazil will not win the World Cup.
Well,
I don't even think I have to say that again.
Well, that's a brave prediction, and that is where we'll leave it here and leave it on the show. Well, guys, it has been a fantastic couple of months bringing you all the action in the Barbados Football Association's Premier League. This has been TouchLine, sponsored by the Barbados Football Association, Powerade and Dasani. And on the behalf of our entire crew, Everson Brown, Rob Ford, David Ford, our sound engineers, our producer, Damien Best, who has been co-presenter, and myself, and Mark Goodrich Boyce, this has been TouchLine. Hopefully, we'll see you next season.